I've got a few words for some of our brothers and sisters in the occupied zone. The chair is against the wall. The chair is against the wall. John has a long mustache. John has a long mustache. It's 12 o'clock, Americans, another day closer to victory. And for all of you out there on or behind the lines, this is your song.
And welcome everybody to our Daily Gun Show. Come to you live every weeknight at midnight Eastern time zone. And we talk about guns right now. Alright, so we'll see if anybody shows up tonight. We throw out links, so if you want to jump in and be part of the conversation, that's what it's all about. And we go live as long as there's people around to chat. Let's see, Erstwhile's out there tonight. How much you get printed? I didn't really print too much today, did I? If I did, it was last night, so I don't know, whenever the day switches, but it would have been yesterday. I did get quite a bunch printed, actually, I guess. And then, but I had to do other things today that I didn't even get a chance to no, I didn't do anything. I wanted to. I thought about working on a project I ended on yesterday. But I'm still kind of figuring out which software is best for which kind of paper and stuff like that. Exploring the different, I went over to Walmart, bought a couple of different sizes, and I could talk about that. So just been playing with what it can, or I played around with what it could do last night a little bit. Like I said, I had to work on some other things today. But let's see, so today is Friday, and kind of dual calendaring it right now, trying to get up to date on the Shooter's Almanac project over on Instagram. I'm a month behind. So now I'm about 20 days behind, I think. So my head is in that calendar from like the middle of last month when there's all kinds of stuff actually happening right now. So it looks like today was the anniversary of the birth of Weatherby, Roy Weatherby. So from what I remember off the top of my head, he was born in California and was a wildcatter, meaning he made his own ammo, I think, and then made some rifles to go for that, and then had a sporting goods store. Eventually started to focus on guns, is I think the story, and then built up his guns to a large enough caliber that he started building his own guns and was good at it. So he carried on. His company keeps his name, and I think they moved to Wyoming, and they make really good, strong, large hunting rifles. And I don't know, half a dozen calibers are associated with the company as well, so he created some calibers. Anyway, I don't know enough about that guy, but he was born today back in 1910. So he would have been pretty old. He died in 1988 at 77 years old. Otherwise, this month is the Maxim month, I guess. I thought that was January. Maybe that happens twice. I didn't even notice. So we've got a couple of different Hiram Maxims because that was their name. So they just named their middle, they just changed their middle names. So you've got the silencer guy is Hiram Percy. That guy was born on the 2nd, and every second matters. And then we didn't talk about on the 1st of September is when Texas began issuing CCW permits back in 1995. So they started that effort in 1993, and it took a couple of years. The governor vetoed it. I don't know the whole deal, but there was a Senator, Jerry Patterson, and every once in a while, a politician does something useful, and that's I think one of the times we want to give a nod to a politician who did something useful. Anyway, so I got that in the calendar for the first couple of days here in September, and then, like I say, it's actually no, it's not Maxim. It's just two guys with the name Hiram. That's interesting. So the Maxims, there's a father and a son, and the father has a brother. So however you want to look at that. Father, son, uncle, father, son, brother, however you want to look at that. But they all have the name Maxim, and two of them have Hiram Maxim as their name. So it makes it super confusing. And I think it's in January. They're all born in like the same, they all born and die in the same month. So they're all like born on 3 different days, right around the same couple of weeks. And then like 2 of them die in the same month. So, or some combination of birth and death like that. So obviously it's not this one, it's not this week, or this month, but there's 2 guys with the name Hiram, which is a weird name to have this day and age. So the first one was Hiram Percy from the second, and that's the suppressor guy. Then we've got Hiram Berdan, and that would be the Berdan primer guy. So he's coming up on Sunday. He'll be born on Sunday back in 1824. Anyhow, so let's go back and talk about what we did in August today over on the Instagram. I posted, I think, like 9 or 10 things on Instagram today. I think I had left off with Dan Wesson. Man, I hope I got the suppressor guy. I'm going to go look. I don't know what I got going on there, but I hope I got the... See, the problem with Instagram is you can't insert nothing. You have to do the stuff in order. So as soon as I fall behind, I'm doomed. I have to do them in order to fill it back up. Otherwise, they're going to go in the wrong order, and that's stupid. And good, I did. I was afraid I missed Dragonoff's passing back in August. So it looks like I think I had ended on Purple Heart Day. So I'm not even screen sharing here. Screen share. Is my mic working? I don't even know if my mic's working today. Yes? No? We'll look on the other side. No. Yeah, okay. So left off on the Purple Heart Day, we added Bannerman Castle burning down back in 1969. Smith & Wesson making the first cartridge, patenting that back in 1854. Got Melvin Johnson, James Paris Lee. Right on, thanks. Lee is the Lee Enfield guy, I think. And Johnson is that Johnson rifle. He worked at places. You got Rick Ector doing Legally Armed in Detroit, trying to get 1,000 ladies legally armed in Detroit, 1,000 ladies laid in Detroit. And I missed all this stuff when it was happening. We got Red Dawn Day. I did get that one reposted, of course, but none of these others. It was the Department of Defense's birthday, I guess, 239 years or something like that. Harlan Carter winged up this little graphic on the phone. We got the Watts riots and Elephant Remington, and then Annie Oakley. So a bunch of stuff. What is that, 9, 10, something of these, 12? Not quite 12 to 11. And then I got a bunch more because this only takes us to August 13th. So another session like this, if I can do it, it's really tough for some reason. I really hate doing this. I don't like doing it. But because the way Instagram works, I have to go back and do them in order like this. And the goal is so that there'll be an entire year's worth of at least everything I'm familiar with, everything I'm aware of in the calendar here, duplicated over on the Instagram platform graphically. So there'll be a little graphic for just about, well, there has to be a graphic for everything. I can't say I can take the time to make a graphic for everything, but we salvage things. We reuse the playing cards. We reuse posts from other years on the other accounts and stuff, but it's also an opportunity to make up some of these graphics. So quite a few of these are made up on the phone. Now, once we're back up to current, it's a heck of a lot easier to keep track of it. Doing, I don't know, the biggest day might have 5 events. Typically days have 1 or 2 events at the most. So real easy to keep up on them. And many of these are already in the calendar. So very few of these I have to actually start from scratch. But when I'm a month behind, it just takes some time. So Some of the other projects, Shooter's Almanac is a tough one this year with all the craziness and cancellations and things shifting. It'll be interesting to go back with 2020 hindsight and attempt to archive when things were supposed to be versus when they got shifted versus if they got canceled completely. And I don't know why, but for some reason I think that might be interesting to archive for the future. And then, of course, just having this as a social media platform, I didn't realize this year was going to be so crazy. So this was just an attempt to start a new channel over there that focuses on the Second Amendment in a chronological way, or on an anniversary, I guess, focused on the stream, the way things come up. What's cool is once these things are all in here, once we have a full year, I guess we're a little bit past, actually we're quite a ways past, a full year here of having, we started on January 1st. Anybody can just go in here and repost. Click on this, grab the link and repost it. So it's a resource that people will have, as long as Instagram's around. They haven't got any reason to knock the account down. So these will just be here. So, January 5th or August 2nd or whatever is the same every year. And very rarely, well, there's a couple of things that are based on the third Thursday of the month or something. I guess that doesn't apply, but very few of these things have to do with the day of the week. So any of these things can really be reposted. And that's the goal, is to have another resource out here. Thanks to our Patreons, give us a chance to spend the time on something like this that may or may not be useful on its own, but hopefully it's another brick in a bigger wall that becomes useful. I like the grams, but it'd be difficult to post daily and run out of stuff. Well, yeah, but except I've got the calendar over here. So the goal is to have a thing every single day. But yeah, I don't post anything on this account. That's a waste of time. I think the closest, I don't even know, like something like this, the gRPC on-site component was canceled this year and will be virtual. Like, that's an update for something in the future. That's about the closest thing to an update about the past. That's about the only thing that's different than all the other posts. But that's about, it's not really all that different, but that's about as different as there is on this channel. So keeping the channel on focus or whatever, hopefully will. See, I knew I had an Annie Oakley one, but I didn't have any graphics. I need to come up with some graphics. I wasn't sure when I posted this Annie Oakley one. As I was posting it, I felt like I had an Annie Oakley one somewhere. And I don't want to make a whole new one if I already made one, but I couldn't find one and I didn't want to spend too much time looking. That's the calculation when you're doing stuff like this. I've got to do, ideally, all of them, get up to date. So that's probably another 20 of them. So do I spend an hour and a half dinking around on one, or do I spend that hour and a half getting it finished? So I decided to quit looking for the one. But that's something that when you're only doing one at a time, you got the more ability to dig in. Like, oh, I don't remember if I did this one before. If it's the only one you're going to do all day, you got the time to dig around and look and then go, oh, okay, I did or I didn't. With these, I've just been kind of doing them fast and loose, just getting them up there. Anyhow, let's see. It turns out, actually, I just looked at Instagram. There's nothing really all that interesting happening tonight. So I think we'll shut down the screen sharing so we need to look at nothing. I've shown the link out there a couple of times. It's hit or miss. This sometimes people will jump in, be part of the show, and we'll have an interesting chat. Tonight looks like it's just me and Erstwhile hanging out. So give it a couple more minutes, but I don't like to beat a dead horse. Get it? Oh, shit. Probably should not look at my emails while I'm in the middle of the show. I don't like to beat a dead horse. Get it? And, oh, I'm not screen sharing. I guess it's okay. But the problem is when there's nobody here, I can't stop and drink or nothing. So you can't listen to me drink. I don't remember exactly when it was now, but it was something like a year ago that I quit buying cigarettes. I'm not gonna say I quit smoking because if I got nothing else to do and there's a cigarette in front of me, I'll smoke a cigarette. But I haven't bought any in a year, and that means I haven't smoked any at all. Pretty much, I think probably I could kind of maybe 10 or something I've smoked in the whole last year. So I highly recommend it. I'm not gonna nag people, but if nobody has mentioned it in a while, go ahead and quit. It's cheaper and probably saving a ton of money. Doesn't really feel like it, but it must be happening, right? So I'm not buying them every couple of, about them maybe twice a month or something. Do cigarettes go bad? Yeah, we put them in the freezer. They're not too bad, but it depends on the person. Like I'm cheap and I smoked generic whatever. I preferred the fancy Indian brands that don't have any fillers or any kind of grossness in them. And if you listen to the tinfoil hat stuff, the cigarettes back in the day used to use a radioactive fertilizer. So any of the brands from back in the East, probably not allowed to say that because of some laws or something, but they potentially had radioactive fertilizer. So anyway, I never was a big, like I didn't really care if it was a brand name or not. I always smoked a couple of generics that tasted better, I guess. But if you talk to some people I know, like they'll throw away a pack of cigarettes if they're not good. Like they just don't care. I guess it depends on how much money you're making too. And when you're talking about back in the day, I know people, people would just throw away. They'd go, "Oh, these cigarettes are bad." And they'd throw away a pack of cigarettes, a brand new pack of cigarettes, or opened pack, but still had a lot in there because they weren't fresh enough or whatever. I can tell the difference, I guess, but I don't not throw them away. It's like pepper or something. Like, can you tell the difference if pepper is bad? I guess some people can. But anyway, you put them in the refrigerator or the freezer, then they stay for kind of a long time. I don't think they even put an expiration date on them. They might put some kind of packaging numbers on there that correlate to something, but it's not in any kind of English you can read and go, "Oh, these were made in September" or whatever. I don't think stores have to worry about it. The brands that are popular, like the big ones, everybody knows about, people buy, so they never really get stale, right? The regulars, the lights, the weird ones. Now, if there's like some of the brands that are popular have, some experimental model or some weird flavor or something, that might get stale at a store. But most of the stuff that's brand name, yeah, that stuff's not there that long. In my experience working in places that sold them, you'd get them and you'd be out. So you'd have to, you'd be restocking your shelves all the time. So they didn't last a week in the store. So that means, most people are probably smoking them right away. Anyhow, so I don't think they have to worry too much. And then I guess the ones that are the weird ones, the filterless, I smoked a couple of filterless brands for a while, and those were not popular. So you'd expect those to be gross. In fact, those you'd have to find a place in town that other people went to that smoked that kind so that they'd actually have fresh ones. Because that would be kind of gross sometimes if they were ancient. Because a bad, I guess they, do they go bad? Yeah. If you let them dry out, they won't be a cigarette anymore. They'll just be fire tinder. Like you can't really light it and it'll light the whole cigarette. So that can happen. And they don't really give you any kind of refund. So if you go into a place and you buy some dumbass brand that nobody's ever heard of and only grandparents smoke it or something, or foreigners or something, so they've had the same pack or the same packs out of the carton since they opened the store 30 years ago, and you buy one of them, nobody's going to, I guess it's possible you could go back in there and go, "Oh, these were gross," and they'll give your money back. But I think most people just assume, hey, you're buying a dumb brand. So anyway, I had people that would, I wasn't the boss of this. I was in school. I wasn't the boss of this gas station, but I had to restock the things, and I wasn't an idiot, so I could kind of tell what was happening, even though I didn't put any attention to it. It was just obvious. So there was a couple of brands, this one red brand and these blue brands, that you'd get a carton in, like occasionally. Like it was rare. Like you'd always be filling these 10 of them, and there'd be a couple that you'd fill every once in a while. And then it'd be like, I'm filling this one again. And then, that would happen occasionally. So those people would come in and you'd notice them. Like, I want the main one. I want the main ones. I want the main ones. I want that weird one. And you'd go, oh, you're the guy. So you'd get a couple of those weird brands that you were really buying for or the store was literally had them on the shelf for 2 customers or 3 customers. But I guess it works because I don't know what the return was like back in the day. That was a long time ago. I was still in school. So pack of cigarettes was probably $2. They probably paid 75 cents or something. I don't know. Look at this. She's going to buy 2 husbands. What kind of weird opposite Mormon shit is that? So somebody moved into a new fancy place, carpeting. It's really messed up. See, as a knowledgeable expert printer now, you don't want to have carpet on the floor. Got static electricity issues, static buildup. She doesn't know what she's doing. Now she wants 2 husbands. I don't even know what a USB husband is. Probably some kind of California thing. Benson and Hedges, that's one of them ones. That was one of the red brands, I think. People have been breaking into Walgreens here because of the prices or something. That's another reason it'd be worth getting off of that kind of habit or an addiction or some, what do they call that, having a monkey on your back? Because if you want a monkey on your back, you want a monkey that can do something useful, not a monkey that's beating on your brain. Polyamory. All right, well, so now we got some people rolling in. Is this show being corked? Is there a corking happening right now? Is there people yelling and screaming about the way that things are in the world? I was over here looking at the Instagram earlier. I'm going to look at my private messages now. Oh, look it! I made a naggy remark about the carpet over there. She understands. She realizes it. She's fucked up. Got a carpet. What you could do is take a razor knife and go around the corners of that room, razor knife all that carpet out of there. Wad it up, throw it out in the hallway. Act like you don't know what's going on. What do you mean? There was no carpet in here. They'll forget that there was carpet in there, and then you'll be all right. You're welcome. All right, so we were just getting done looking at the events for August. I guess since I'm over here before I close out of there, where had I finished? I had got up to Annie Oakley. So that means I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. About 20 of them yet to do. So, man, I really don't like doing them. I'll try to do those at some point here. And then I'll be up to speed, and I'll try not to get behind, because that is not fun. It's like having homework, having to do a bunch of Instagram posts. I think I just don't like sitting there doing it. I can handle working on my phone for a minute or two. Sometimes I enjoy it, but having to do it, I'd rather do almost anything else than having to work on the phone. It's like, I don't know. It's like if you got to mop the floor and somebody gives you a toothbrush. Like every once in a while, yeah, a toothbrush is perfect for cleaning something, but I don't want it to be my only cleaning tool. There's other things that are way better than that. Look at that. Talk shit about old out-of-date printers, and everybody leaves. Well, I threw the link out there a couple of times. We're up at almost a half of an hour, and I don't know if you can hear it. I can hear it. I got some cricket in here. turn off all the lights to get it cooler in here, so I don't have the lights cooking. But that seems to invite the crickets to start making their little noises. What's going on here? There seems to be going to be some assembly required for the secret project. A multi-man design cell will fit in the huge flat rate box. Oh, I see. Okay. So it's interesting. I would be interested to find out what the components are of that. Yeah, I have to get out there, see without the, now that I've been thinking about the robot more, the base that was on it when I stole it had holes in it, right? And then those holes had these little metal things that you could screw into. So now you've got basically what looks like a piece of pegboard, but in reality is a bunch of little metal studs that are threaded. So you could screw like a post down into the tabletop or the surface and use that as a way to secure the part that you're working on. And you could do that in a way that the parts that secure that part, or the pieces that secure that part, don't come up and come in contact with the bits at all. You don't have to worry about cutting nothing. So I hadn't been doing that because I don't have a bunch of holes in this new piece of plastic, but also because I've been doing everything with double-sided tape. And that double-sided tape has been working as a impromptu type of thing, but the problem is the inconsistency of the tape itself, right? So if I go, I don't know, the wood is, you know, zeroed out, let's say, it doesn't matter what the number is, but if I zero out the bit on that piece of wood, and then it goes around, starts cutting and pushes down, and the tape gives a little bit, right? That's got to be affecting something, right? So I need to get that tape out from under there because it's basically just a little cushion underneath my part. And that means I need to go to some sort of other type of secure method on there, I think. So I might do something where you secure like a L shape, and then you just kind of cram all your pieces of raw product into that L shape all the time. Winston Moy's video on setting up the whole board. I might. Does he have carpeting? It's carpeting. I don't know if I trust him. I don't know who that is, but masking on the table and super glue in between. All right, I'm definitely going to try that. So you just put your masking tape down so that you're not wasting your time screwing up your table, I guess. And then there's no give. See, I'm learning right now. But from what I understand, it's going to be like 110 throughout the weekend, so I don't think I'll be doing it this weekend. I'm going to link over here to this channel. We'll probably eventually just go to an all printing and all robot channel. I'll eventually figure out how to get that robot to move over and push buttons on the printer so that I basically program the printer to program itself, which is self-duplicating. If I get some sort of a paper pulp machine, I can just take my junk mail, shove it in one end, and it just come out printed product on the other end that I could then ship to people as junk mail. Basically the perfect situation, I think. Using junk mail to create junk mail, using robots and printers. It's ideal. All right, well, that's what it devolves to when you make me have to sit here and talk all the time. So it's going to end quickly. It's going to get pretty annoying. It's just like it's almost as bad as the Chinese water torture, except it's the fucking cricket thinks it's so good because all the lights are turned off torture. And now that I'm only thinking of it, it's even worse. Except I'm not in some sort of little tiki hut, prisoner of war. I can go in there, turn on some lights, go around with a flashlight, scare the shit out of it, and do something else. And a laser to put a logo on it. You need a laser to put a logo. I was thinking about putting a laser on the unit. Is that what we're talking about? Like I've seen where they magnet a laser onto it, a cutting laser onto it, and then they use it to move around the cutting laser. I could do that. I have a cutting laser. It's just not the right kind. It reminds me of old laser videos. I don't know what that means. Maybe y'all are watching this YouTube video that I didn't watch yet. When you get that robot, make sure you set your Z offset at the top of the part and not the bottom. It'll save a lot of screw ups. What is that supposed to mean? Like the part away from the side away from you, like toward, like not the part right in front of you, but the part on the other side of the workbench. Why would you want to do that? And how can that possibly work? I usually my deal has a center. It has far left, far right, and all that, but then it has like halfway points. So I bring it to like halfway between end and zero, or what did I say? So the outside and the center. I bring it like halfway and start there. That makes sense. So that it's not maxed out in any direction, and I don't do it dead center. I don't want it to wear out the dead center section. This part I don't understand. I don't know if I'm missing something. Oh, okay. Yeah, I got that high-powered laser, if it's not dead yet, that I can burn stuff with. I can light cigarettes with it. I just don't smoke it. Cause negative 10 and 0. What? Always set your Z on the tallest part. You can work off the bottom of the table, but it's easy to forget to tell it to move over the part and then run through it. Oh, you're talking about the top of the. Yeah, I've never set it off the bottom. Not crazy. That's probably what they do in Europe, setting it off the bottom. That seems reckless. I can't imagine starting it off the bottom. That's super ambitious. Like I just know how everything's going to be, so I'm going to start it at the finish point. That's crazy. Yeah, that's definitely the kind of reckless shit Europeans do. That's why they have to hand make everything in Europe. They don't have automated machines for reasons like that, from what I understand. I'm not an expert, but that's what I understand. All the machines in Europe have gears on them and little wheels, like hand wheels that somebody has to turn. And they're working on getting knobs, but mostly it's those little wheels with the little thing sticking out of the wheel. All right, well, it's definitely dissolved. It was at the beginning a mighty sandcastle of Second Amendment knowledge and potential. And then I send out a bunch of links, which is sort of like the first couple of waves hitting. Sometimes it brings in all kinds of interesting shit, coral and big shark will wash up on the beach and they'll start working on the sandcastle. A lot of times, piece of driftwood will come in. We can use that for something good. Oh, wait, what's happening here? Good evening.
Good evening.
So what, you're over at your new place or are you not somewhere else?
No, I'm at home. I mean, I was doing like moving things today. I'm basically doing where the stuff that I can carry, I'm moving. So Well, you saw pictures. There's like kind of a lot of shit over there. And then tomorrow, I had to get a trailer from U-Haul because they don't have any trucks. So then, like, the shelves and like that kind of shit will go in there. And I got like 5 or 6 people to help.
Your vehicle can have a trailer on it?
I don't know about mine. I think mine can, but because we're not sure about this transmission, we're not gonna F with it. Me and my car have this agreement where we're just gonna get through the next like 90,000 miles together, and then we're gonna go our separate ways. And we hope in this time nothing happens. Like we're just gonna be cool. So I won't put a trailer on it because I'll probably get pissed.
All right, so you're offering to the vehicle is you're never going to put it under any agreement.
Yeah, like so don't leave me stranded in Las Vegas again, and I won't make you tow anything. Or like I told it that I probably won't take it more than a mile off of into the BLM land. So that's an agreement we have to.
Does it let you put on the air conditioning and stuff when it's hot?
Oh, the shop?
No, the car.
Yeah, it's got air conditioning. But I mean, it's like, well, it's an SUV, but I don't think it's that high. So like, I'm not gonna like off-road it because I don't think it's like made for that shit. Like, it doesn't want to do that.
So have you had any chance to work over there, or you've just been going over and dropping stuff off?
No, I got like half my shit there. Like the machines and stuff aren't over, but Sunday I guess I'll be setting up maybe. And then hopefully working like Tuesday. Like working, because I got shit to do.
Forget somebody else posted something of a place where they were moving, I guess, and they had like 2 bins filled out of like 1 billion bins. Did you see that one on Instagram?
No, who posted that?
I don't know. Instagram now, if you already seen your stuff from people you care about, it'll just start showing you other stuff. And if I'm not paying attention, it'll just flip to other people's shit that I'm not even subscribed to. And it did that. So I was like, what the hell is this? I thought it was your place because it looked like, I don't know, like if you go to a place where they're doing something and they need like a bunch of screws or parts or whatever, they'll have like a wall of bins, you know? It looked like that, like a wall of bins. But you could tell they were all empty and it was like a new place because there wasn't anything else going on. It was just like an empty room with these bins.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, oh, what's going on here? And then you could tell there was something in maybe like a dozen of the bins or something out of like hundreds. And, but it was another patch place. And then I zoomed in and you could tell they had patches. And I was thinking, well, it must be nice to have like, you know, these bins might have held 25 patches or something. I guess maybe they put like an order of 100 into 4 drawers or something. But I'm like, who the hell would want to have less than 25 or whatever? Like, how many of these drawers hold? Like a billion different versions, you know, a billion different flavors, and have less than 25 of each one. Like, that must be the biggest headache in the world to have to keep track of that kind of inventory.
Yeah, that sounds like too much.
Unless, I guess it's possible that the shopping cart software would pull some kind of report every night and say, you know, you sold this many, but then here's a report that tells you what you need to re-up on because you're about to run out of these things. Because otherwise, yeah, you'd have to have like a whole employee just to monitor those bins.
Well, if they use Shopify, it would be like I know my thing tells me things are getting low.
Yeah, but that I put what I feel like telling Shopify in there. I don't put what I actually have because if I put what I actually have in there and then I decide, oh, I'm giving 3 away, then Shopify sells 3 things that I don't have.
Yeah, I I take, so if I get 50 patches, right? I only put 40 in Shopify. Oh,
Yeah,
there's
I do it like 10 though. I do it 10 at a time so that it can never sell anywhere near what I have, if that makes sense.
oh yeah, I guess, yeah.
But then I run out all the time. People are telling me like, "Oh, you're out of everything." I'm like, "Oh shit!" And I go over there and I have like literally nothing. I have a ton of patches, but my store says I'm empty. That happens to me all the time.
Inventory struggles.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it sucks. I gotta like count my patches and reorganize them, and that has to happen, I think. They're just
You
like
know,
a
awesome this time.
what?
You're gonna do some kind of awesome system this time.
No. I'm gonna do the same system, but just well, like I'm gonna like group them better together, I think, because they all kind of like I started with one bin of patches, and now I have like I don't know 20 something, a shit ton. So like things could just be organized, like all those hexagon ones could all be together, and like you know. So yeah, I'm gonna do that, but I also have to like get back to working because I gotta pay for that place.
I assume as a chick, whenever they come to pay the bill or whatever, you just kind of blink at them or giggle and be like, "Oh, I don't know where the money is," and I thought I sent the check, and then they go, "Oh, all right," and then they leave me alone.
Yeah, like they leave me alone for another day and then they come back.
Or you can like giggle or whatever, and then be like, "Oh, I thought my dad paid it, or I thought my boyfriend paid it." And then they're like, "Oh, that must have happened," and then they leave again.
Yeah, but then they keep coming back.
All right. Well, Erstwhile saying he says it like this: They build molds for only 50 patches. That's what he said.
That's not, yeah, it's like very like I'm getting like a very mansplainy tone from that. So uh yeah, yeah, they do. Well, I do. We build molds for only one patch. So yeah.
Here's the thing: our patches don't have mold, so I don't know what that's like. We never have to deal with that.
Oh, you don't have molds?
We don't have mold on our patches, so I've never had to deal
Yeah.
with it. No, but yeah, I don't have the same sort of relationship. I can't just giggle and blink at the guy and get whatever I want from my patch guy.
Have you tried though?
No, I guess I'm assuming that I can't do all that.
Yeah. Well, eventually you'll find somebody that's like, all right.
Anyway, so now we've gone all around. So it's 44 minutes into this show. Got 7 people out there. Erstwhile is one of them. TTP is one of them. That's 3. Well armed. I don't know if you're still out there. That would be 4. And that's it. So that means, oh, and then barbecue might be out there still. And there's at least one creepy lurker out there. Whoa! What happened there? Oh, am I even screen sharing? Oh, okay. I just did all that and I screen shared. So I did a pretty awesome choreographed screen share thing that wasn't screen sharing. All right, I'll go back down here. You build them or the Chinese? I don't think the Chinese do it, but overseas does it. Yes.
Yeah, I don't. I get the distinct pleasure of saying that I do not manufacture in China or Pakistan.
I definitely don't go to Pakistan Yeah, but I think it's Hong Kong. But I don't know where the factory is. I don't think the factory's from China.
It's probably Guangdong.
Guangdong.
Yeah, it's like a province in China where most of the manufacturing is.
Oh, I thought that was Hong Kong. It sounds kind of similar.
I think it's like something to do with Hong Kong. But yeah.
So yeah, I'm sitting here, and I figured out I can just print my own cards that I paid for like a sucker before. Now I got my own fancy printer. I can just make my own cards.
Oh, like business cards?
No, not like I guess I could do business cards, but I don't have the good enough paper cutter. I don't think to do business cards good. But no, I'm talking the ones for the like the collector card thing. I paid something for that last time, and I went to go do a demo one, and then I compared it to last year's, and I'm like, there's no difference between last year's and this year's. Like, there's no difference between my demo and last year's. So it's cool. So that means I can save a couple of bucks and just print those.
That's pretty rad.
Plus, I can wait because I need to. That was the other problem is I'm trying to do some stuff with the back there, and wait. That makes my deadline different. I can go right up to the last minute.
Oh man, I don't think I've shown you this thing, but you would love it for what you're doing. I got this rotary paper cutter.
Oh yeah, I can already tell that I would like it. So instead of a regular paper cutter with a big, like what do they call that? Like a guillotine, I guess, like an actual blade that comes down and pinches, so it never really works good with more than a few pages. You're talking like a pizza cutter that's on a track.
Yeah, well, you used my other paper cutter, right? Like the dangerous one.
I don't know. I guess so. When I was cutting up the
Yeah, I did. Okay, so this thing is I think it's called a roto cutter. Roto.
Oh, has it got a motor in it?
No, it's like a manual thing. It's fucking expensive. When I'm looking them up, they're expensive. I can't remember what it's called now. Anyway, it's like a lot of photographers use them, so it can cut like robust paper. Oh,
Right.
Roto trim. Roto.
Like cardstock instead of just wimpy 9mm paper.
Yeah, and then like the little blade inside there is replaceable. So it's like this thing's like good to go. Look these things up, dude. It's like the Cadillac of fucking paper cutters. I put the thing in the thing.
I have a. Actually, I used to buy paper cutters whenever I could whenever I'd see them because I always thought they were just cool anyway.
They are.
Because I could get them for like $1 at the auctions and stuff. So I would just get them. Half the time they were broken. But then eventually I wanted one that was good. So I got a good one. And it's big. It's like what I would have used at, I don't know, like, it's big. It's like 2 foot by 2 foot or something, like a real big one. But it's the old fashioned, you bring down the guillotine, bring down that blade or whatever. And it's kind of impractical because you can't really cut more than a couple of pages. They start to twist and it's just doesn't work good. So I got a little tiny version of what you got here, I guess. But this it's not mechanical. It's just you're pulling it across on that thing, right? Yeah, I just have a really tiny version of this thing. And I got that for nothing, like $1, because the little rubber that it eats into underneath the sacrificial rubber strip was missing. So I just went to the store and bought like 2 of those for a couple of bucks, and it was working fine. I've eaten my rubber strip away again, but I think I need to buy another blade for it. That's the question. I'm guessing it's sort of what's the word, like a uniform blade size for these things.
Amazon, probably, yeah. Well, yeah, I think.
They might have weird holes. They might have like square holes or stupid star shape or something to try to keep them proprietary. Because it's basically just a disc blade. But yeah, okay, so you have a really big version. You were saying like what, 2 foot long or 3 foot wide?
Yeah, I got it for the poster thing. So it's I think it's 24, 25. But it's like it's the nicest paper cutter I've ever used.
Well, that's what I figured out too, is that I figured I had some card stock that I was using as an experiment to make the covers for like a pamphlet or a book or whatever, because you want to make the covers thicker than the inside. And it was working and everything. It's just that I think I had a different size. I forget the numbers, but it's like I had the thickest one I got was almost too thick for a booklet. It just didn't fold well and it wasn't necessary. It was almost too thick, where the other one worked fine. So, and they don't cost anything different. One of them $6, one of them $6 or something. It was basically the same. So anyway, the other one's just been sitting here. So then I printed on it and it printed just fine. And I cut it and I'm like, well, dang, by the time you cut it, it comes out just like an index card. You know, it's about the same thickness as a index card. So, and my stupid printer is supposed to not be able to print that. It prints it just fine. Anyway, so yeah, I can take one of those things and cut two out of it using that paper cutter. And it can do like three at a time because it's, well, I think it has something to do with it being round and cutting through like a saw blade or whatever.
Right.
A pizza cutter. So it's still pinching. It's just that it's pinching and moving, I think, in a different way. But then also it's on that track. So it's coming at a consistent angle of attack against the rubber instead of the scissor type of action that's happening on the old-fashioned kinds. So as soon as your old-fashioned kind, I don't know what the word is, like yaws left or right, like as soon as it basically like moves with the paper, it's not cutting anymore. Now it's just mangling your paper into a big mess. And that just doesn't happen that much with the round one. So I may upgrade, but I'll have to find a used one somewhere. You found that on like a Craigslist type of thing? Somebody selling it?
I got it when I was getting the laminator. I happened to see this thing on like, I think it was like Facebook Marketplace or something.
Do you feel bad that you invested in all this equipment just to find out that I'm going to master printing right out from under you, and now you're just going to have to sell all that stuff probably at a loss?
A little bit, yeah. Like I feel like I might as well just like give it up.
I feel like it's a good lesson to learn though while you're still young, so that you can bounce back and maybe in a different industry, right? Be smarter and or whatever.
Well, I mean, should I even bother like trying to do anything else?
If you like, I mean, it's legal now. You can have
That's
jobs or whatever. There's some other questions up here. So, in addition to building molds for 50, I think you can do them for one, right? Like you brag often that you can get one patch made if you want.
Yep.
And it's probably not actually that unreasonable because they're basically going to whittle a mold and charge us something no matter what. So obviously, the more patches you make out of that mold, the less, what is it, dollar cost average, the less it's going to cost. But, you know, if you're just going to do one, I mean, it's not like it costs $700 to cut a piece of metal or anything. It's just some amount of money. So they're just going to charge you that same amount of money and then charge you, I don't know, I guess much less to put one squirt of rubber in it. But you figure they're probably making like 7 or 10 or something to make one anyway, right? Like to get all the colors right and to get the fills. I can't imagine they just are so good that they can just eyeball it and then boom, have perfect patches coming out of those robots. But maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. That's something that I've never found out. So we got a question going on from that. Alex saying, what would the cost be for about 20 patches of a custom design? Now I'm assuming we're talking rubber. Now, if we're talking made out of sewing machine, you can get those made in the USA. Those are definitely available. But if we're talking the rubber kind, 20, it's going to depend on like size and I guess detail or amount of color, amount of effort they're going to put into it, or no?
Yeah, I mean, 20 is it's really hard to just kind of price it out like, hey, what's the price for 5 patches? Because like, what size is that patch? Like, how much detail? They're all kind of handmade. So, I mean, aside from the mold making. So yeah, it's like a time thing, whatever. So the best way to get a quote is to email your art or your idea or whatever if you don't have art. And then
Because like saying, oh, it's gonna be 4 inches, but then if it's 4 inches and it's just a big letter G, like the gun channel's G, that's one thing. But if it's 4 inches and it's Yankees, I'm just looking at my wall here, and it's Yankees Kool-Aid patch where the guy's got camouflage pants on and he's holding a thing in each hand and he's got ice cubes in his head and he's wearing 3 different colors on his shirt and his boots have 3 different colors. It's just that the robot takes time to program all that, and then it takes time to pour all that. Like, the robot's got to move around and drop the little drops of color here and there. They do whatever they do. That patch is going to take significantly longer than something that's the same size that was just one color, right? Like that is why we can't go, oh, it's going to cost you XYZ. Because if you slap a design at you that's like, boom, like here's like super easy, or here's a design that seems super easy, but for some reason it's hard, or one that's obviously hard. Like you don't really know until you send it over to them. I can't think of something. Oh, the stripper clip is one that comes for me. That's one design I have where different factories will look at that one differently. And I've had more than one factory. I don't remember anymore, so it was a long time. But I wanted to make that one for a while. And I had one factory go, nope, there's no way we can do it, period. One of them was like, we can do it in sewing, but we can't do it in rubber. And then I had it done in rubber. So, another factory was like, yeah, no problem. Let's just make that for you. So everybody's, I don't know, there could be a lot of factors there, I guess is what I'm getting at. And it's tough to describe what's the word, like what the characteristics are that cause the thing. And then I found out this time that it's the rubber. You make it a little bit bigger, boom, that's just a little bit more rubber. It wouldn't matter for 20 patches, but for a lot of patches, you add a little bit of rubber on a lot of patches, and boom, that's a lot of weight. So now your shipping costs go up. But it'd be probably about $25, $30 to get 20 patches. No, I'm just kidding. That's a shit ton.
right, $5.
Went to Hong Kong to get some watch dials. Wouldn't be monetarily possible in the US. Yeah, there's too much of it that's labor, but then it's also something about the chemicals where they got laws or they don't have laws, and we got different laws about what chemicals are used. We might have laws about the kind of robots. There might be some kind of a law about how many robots we can have in this country doing stuff. Hong Kong and mainland are night and day difference. Even the special economic zones are done. I don't know. It sounds interesting to go over there, but I don't know if I'd actually want to go over there. Would you go over to Hong Kong and look around?
Okay, like I would say yeah, but I've spent a lot of time in second world countries and shit, so like my tolerance is pretty okay for not American ways of living.
Would you go to Hong Kong on the story that you're going to go deal with some patch thing, but really you had to do some kind of espionage? Like you had to work your way into some factory and get your hand on some kind of circuitry, some kind of microchip technology.
Like, would I be a James Bond?
No, more like some sort of patsy. Like you had to go do the work, but somebody else is going to get all the credit. You're just going to have to go do the dangerous stuff, and then all the espionage as far as getting in there and getting out. Cover stories and all that.
All right, I'm gonna say no, and here's why.
Because you're scared.
Well, whenever I play video games with friends and shit, like if we play that battle royale shit, I always end up negligent discharging and getting us killed. So no, because I would get the spike. Now.
I feel like it'd be more fun to go over there if you had some sort of an extra challenge, like some sort of an extra mission or goal or whatever, than just boring as tourism. Wheel is saying I used to stay in Macau and take the ferry to Hong Kong. First time I was there is in 2008. Banking protests. Protesting banking. Mainland sucks compared to Hong Kong. Wonder if it changed. I thought it was. So what is Hong Kong, a peninsula? Is that what you're saying? Mainland? It's not an island. The mainland hasn't changed. Been to HK in a while. Hong Kong's very similar to any first world city. Mainland China is similar to the poor areas of Mexico, except they have giant factories that the people live in. Yeah, I don't know. I haven't. It's hard to say. I guess I've seen some things where the factories are big buildings, and then I've seen other things where the factories are little towns, and like you say, people just sort of wake up and start working. Have you seen the thing where they're making masks, like just in some gross room, like
Yep.
five people in a room, and there's just a bunch of masks in a pile in different stages of being made, and they're just kind of pushing the piles towards each other, and they're doing their little piece and throwing the pile to the next person.
Yeah, and like the grossest room you've ever seen.
Yeah, so stuff like that. I'm sure a lot of stuff is being made like that. Shoes and even electronic stuff, really, like anything that can be done.
Oh my god, dude. So one time I did this Indiegogo thing and they were getting it was this like fan that you put in your under your blankets and like it was weird. Anyway, they got pictures of this like the cases and the electronics being manufactured in China. And it was like straight up like these two dudes pouring plastic into molds and shit, wearing like flip flops and shorts, and like everything around them is like hot and sharp and heavy. And these guys are just like t-shirts, shorts, flip flops, crouching on the floor. Like it's like the most unsafe thing I've ever seen.
I don't know about unsafe, but definitely different. I've seen some of the, like they had some giant truck wheels, like the hubs of a giant truck being made, some giant hammer and some kind of giant forge or whatever, and they'd have this giant chunk of metal, the rim with some giant truck tire comes out looking like a giant tree trunk, and it just starts getting smashed by these giant hammer coming out of the ceiling. Yeah, and like you're saying, it's just these dudes that could just as easily be pushing around like an ox in the fucking rice paddy or some shit, like just, or maybe pushing or like raking something. They just have like old like t-shirt that's too big for them and a pair of shorts and maybe flip flops, and it's just like a mud floor. And then when they're all done, boom, like a freaking truck rim, or not a truck, but like maybe a dump truck or something, rim came popping out, cooling off, and then you look behind them and there's dozens of them just cooling off back there.
Yeah.
But you look at stuff happening here, it ain't all that much different. I've been into places where guns are coming out of where, I mean, they're still wearing flip flops and sparks flying everywhere, and people are going to do it. They're going to, what's the word? Have an amount of concern based on their experience, right? And to an outsider, it's going to be like, holy moly. But to them, they've been doing it for a long time. But I wake up next to my machines, so I do the same thing. I just don't have to worry about getting smashed. Well, I guess I might have to worry about getting smashed. This printer's pretty heavy. It fell over on me. Hurt. I feel like then I'd be like one of them steamboat, paddle boat captains back in the day. And if my printer went down, I feel like Angelina and her printer company would be coming down the river. And I'd have to get my printer back up and running real quick for to keep in competition with her.
We have cannons.
We didn't have cannons back in the day. They may have had somebody shooting with a rifle, but they didn't. I don't know. I guess it maybe depends on when, but I can't imagine. Maybe cannons for like some sort of Indian uprising or something. Maybe a Civil War thing. Maybe a Civil War thing.
Yeah, I'm thinking like, you know, at Gettysburg, all those cannons they have on the side of the road.
Except the thing is, whenever I think back to the olden days, I always think back to after the Civil War, because why would you ever want to have to deal with the Civil War shit? Like, at least you're going to start thinking about something. Outlaw Jesse Wales types of days, those days after the Civil War.
It's just like those cannons they have.
Do you have any windows in that place you're at?
Not to the outside, but there's one like to the main hall and then to the suite next to me because it's like it can be joined, but it has a double locking door. So I could really rent the one next to me.
Is that double the price or a different price or what?
It's a little bit bigger, so it's probably more.
Oh. You wouldn't get some kind of break on it?
I don't know. Maybe. But I don't really know for sure.
Were you around when I was telling the story the other day? I was walking, and when I'm walking, it's the middle of the night, so it's like 4 a.m, so I can just walk down the middle of the street, and nobody's on the street, so I just walk right down the middle, and I'm walking, and I keep hearing the dog going, like her little noise that she'll make sometimes if she wants to go sniff something or whatever. And I figured she was sniffing something in the grass over on the side of the road, wanting to go over there. And I didn't even put 2 and 2 together because this isn't a dog that makes noise ever. But she kept going, and I'm like, shut up! Like, what the fuck? This dog never makes noise. Like, what are you making noise? And it was unusual for middle of the night. That's loud. It's the only noise that's happening. It would have just been unusual for her to be doing it, but it was also the only noise that was happening. So I was like, why are you doing this? Like, shut up. Anyway, so I walk up a little bit more, and it turns out there was this owl sitting on at the point where we were walking. The power lines or telephone lines, whatever they are only like, it seems like you could reach up and touch them. They're not that high up off the ground. So there was this owl, like not that high off the ground above us, sitting on the lines, on the wires. And it was making this noise it sounded exactly like a dog. And I don't know how it was throwing its voice or something, or maybe just because it was, the only noise out there at silent night, that it sounded like it was coming from the dog or something.
Did you apologize to her after, like, you discovered it wasn't her?
Yeah, the dog? Yeah. And then I said, what the fuck, owl? That owl. So it was being a dick. It kept yelling at me the whole time, and I kept walking past. I think it just didn't like me walking around by it.
Yeah, it probably didn't. Because it will, like, nights, it's, like, time to, like, hunt and shit. You're always scared and everything. Like,
yeah, exactly. I'm sure it's like if it was a fisherman and I'm the dick who came by in like a paddle boat, not even doing anything, just really slowly making a shit ton of noise and splashing the water all around, slowly going by. Because I was just walking up, and when she walks, she makes all kinds of other noises. So yeah, I'm sure we scared everything.
It's probably like, fuck these two, god damn it.
That owl probably knows how to make dog noises to get the humans pissed at the dogs so that they turn around and go home.
Oh yeah, like attacked.
Let's see. So, you ever taken a ferry? Y'all was talking about going to Macau.
Have I ever taken a ferry?
I feel like I've taken ferries plenty of times, but over here, I feel like in Macau, going to Hong Kong, it would be on one of those junks, right? And you'd have to like jump off, cross over onto another one, and then a third one, and they're cooking something in that third one to get to a ramp that gets you up to real ground. So that sounds like a lot more fun, like than when I was in Canada, and it was basically like you know how it is now, how you're standing 6 feet away from everybody. In Canada, they just do that even back in the 90s just to be polite because they're scared of Americans. And then it's like it is now, except without any masks, but everybody's like 6 feet away. And then, like, oh, excuse me. Like, what the fuck are you saying that for? You're 6 feet away from me. Like, don't say that to me. Oh, I'm sorry for saying that. Like, that's what it's like being in Canada. So I figure it'd be drastically different than that kind of ferry experience.
Could be.
We left the mainland and we're on the water, and all these Canadians started mumbling, and I was like, "Oh, is this some sort of a prayer?" And they were like, "Oh no, we're apologizing to the mainland for stepping off of it, apologizing to the water for being on it."
That's the national prayer of Canada. Apology.
Well, let's see. So then we're up to somewhere that's next to the machines.
Is Bob gonna show up now because we were talking about Canada?
What?
Does Bob show up when you talk about Canada?
Oh, Bob will just show up occasionally. He has a cat now, so he's probably enjoying running around, little baby kitten.
Oh yeah.
He said in a couple of days he's going to have internet. So he had been complaining that he didn't have internet, but somehow he moved close enough to the United States that he can steal our internet, probably. So this guy Alex is saying, saw a van, a van like mine that had a set of solar panels on the roof. All right. Yeah. I got a friend that's got one of them refrigerators where they look up, just like a big cooler kind of, except the lid's on the top with a hinge, and then you reach down into it for everything. So those kind don't live up, give up their cool every time you like open the door, like a regular refrigerator. Every time you open the door, all the cool falls out on the ground. So it takes energy to put it back all in there. So with that kind and one solar panel, like I think he was bragging that, well, basically he barely even had to use the batteries like for a whole weekend. Because out here, the solar panels will charge something like that barely needs to run. Or they'll keep a battery topped off at least without even, even when it's cloudy and everything, just having daylight is enough for that kind of panel. But the problem is what it looks like, and I don't know what it's going to be like on the other side of all this. Gyms are going to be different. People traveling is going to be different. People's attitude of the police, and oh my goodness, with so many people changing their situations financially, I mean, how many people will how many more or less people will be in a vehicle? I think people before last year and before were driving around living in vehicles out of choice a lot of times, right? Maybe not always, but certainly some people are doing it out of choice. Like, will that be a choice people want to make? Will it be a safe or a smart choice? Will it be useful? Like, is it, back when you had free run of the world, basically, or the country, it's a little different than, I don't know, some kind of situation where you don't have, there's nowhere to go or there's nothing's open. I don't know. You got to see a little bit more of that this last time. Do you think, well, you've been around, driving around before. Was there more or less people, I don't want to say on the road because there had to be less people on the road, but could you tell, was there a different percentage of people that were kind of living out of their vehicle type of thing? From the people you could tell were living out of their vehicle?
Yeah, so when I was driving around, I mean, there was less people like around. I would say like for like summer traveling, I guess there was less than there probably was usually. But I mean, a decent amount. I would say like it wasn't super easy to find a hotel or anything like that, not because they were closed, but because they were booked. And then where we went had seemed to have a lot of people go. Um, so yeah, but
Like
I
when you go to a hotel, a lot of times nowadays, maybe it's because I'm tuned into it, but I think it's because there's just more people doing it. And because hotel parking lots are one of the places people figure you can hang. But do you notice people, living in their car in a hotel parking lot any more or less?
I hadn't, no, but in some Facebook groups that I'm in, a lot of people are like van lifing. Like that seems to be getting a whole new reboot now because people like the idea of being able to like incognito camp wherever. So there's all kinds of like I think that like there's a whole like movement starting up again. So I expect we will see a whole bunch more of that.
I guess it depends on where you go, but I'm guessing it wouldn't be as comfortable to go like downtown somewhere and park on the side of a road as what I mean, as compared to like a lake somewhere on the side of a meadow or something, where you park somewhere in a city, some crazy thing. I mean, this is obviously lightning hitting or something, but worst case scenario, you park somewhere, something happens in that town or in the region or somewhere, and then something goes nuts and you didn't know when you parked, where you parked, and who knows what kind of stuff. And then that would be a horrible way to wake up. Or at least that fear, I guess, because obviously, again, that's a crazy scenario, unique, pulling, low hanging, whatever you want to call it, outlier, lightning strike type of scenario. But if people are afraid of that, unrealistic or not, then that might, I think, again, the people that are doing it out of a whim or because of their YouTube channel, but like the people that are doing it for real or, what's the word, like, it's not regional job, but like a job that seasonal jobs, that take them around. That kind of stuff is going to happen no matter.
Oh, well, yeah, for sure.
Let's see. My self-driving car gets attacked a lot by fairies. Apparently, every time you start a route, it says avoiding fairies on the speakers. Nice. I always have mine avoid fairies. And have you ever done the avoid highways one? I
Yeah.
do avoid tollways. Have you ever done the avoid highway?
I have done avoid highway a lot in Illinois actually, and then that avoid tollways. I do that all the time. But we don't have a lot of toll roads here.
I have to leave the tollway one on because we don't have them in the West. So that's just a bullshit thing you have in the East. So we're not used to it. And if we're not used to it, like I was in San Antonio. You've been in San Antonio driving around?
I have.
And they have those like crazy donut streets. There's like these two donut loops or something, and I was on one of them, I think. And the problem is there's like centrifugal circles or whatever that's called, right? There's like the inner loop and then there's the outer loop. And each of I think at least the inner loop, I think, has a double decker. So there's like an up and a down on the same, you're driving, there's a thing above you, people driving or something like that. And yeah, I didn't know if I was going up or down or what the fuck, and I'm going in a circle. So I was done. Like I usually can at least have some idea where I'm at. I was just like, it was taking a lot just to keep figuring out where the fuck I was going. I was going east eventually, but before I knew it, I was on a toll road. I had taken like the road. I don't know. I guess it was the entrance to the toll road, but to me, it looked just like a what do they call it, like a left or a right decision, like a Y intersection.
Mhm.
But before I knew it, it was like one of those, oh, well, you've taken this road, and if you don't already have an auto pass, we'll just take a picture of your license plate. No worries. We'll just send you the $40 fee or whatever. But then I immediately took off the next, I didn't even have to merge into the street. I just kept going right off and exited. But yeah.
Did they send you a bill?
I want to say no, but I'm also an idiot. Maybe they did, and I just don't even know when I paid it. But I don't remember them sending me a bill. But if they like PayPal'd me, I just don't know. Like that could have happened, I guess.
When I went to New York, maybe the last road trip I went to New York, we started off paying the tolls, and then we saw like a sticker in the car, and I'm pretty sure I heard a beep, like a transponder. So I was like, oh, there's a transponder in the car. They just bill us at the end. So here I am in New Jersey, and I'm like, oh, I'm just gonna fucking run this toll booth. So I run the toll booth, and I don't hear a beep. So I'm like, oh, maybe I don't have a transponder. Then then I have to run a toll booth in Pennsylvania because there's no one staffing it, and there's like no way to take a payment and no one staffing it. Then in I think New York they had where they take a picture of your license plate and send you the bill. But it was a rental car and we never heard anything about it. And I've rented from the company like 4 times since, and they never said anything. So I don't know what happened. Like, did I just get a whole bunch of tolls for free?
Yeah, I think so, right? I bet you they just charge the suckers who pay it, and then everybody else, they're just like, oh, well, like, what are we going to do? Right? They can't spend $75 worth of, well, probably a lot more than that, to figure out how to get $6 from you.
Well, I know, like, here, like, so I've
Unless maybe the rental place just pays them all, and then at the end of the year they go, okay, we paid $1 million worth of toll fees. We'll just add that to the rates next year or something.
maybe. Well, I thought they like fucking come after you. Like, if you get a parking ticket in a rental car, you don't just not hear, like they ban you or call you about it or something. So I thought,
well, a lot of times if I'm robbing a bank or taking hostages or doing that kind of thing, I'll go with a rental car because then you don't have to worry about it because they can't trace it back to you.
well, yeah, apparently they don't do anything about it.
Yeah, I just haven't been on a tollway. So the only time I go on a tollway is either somewhere in a city or place where somebody gives me one and then I give it back to them, like I can put it on the dashboard or whatever. I think that happened once. Otherwise, I just don't go on tollways. That's what I normally do. Pretty much everywhere you just can just not go on a tollway. Pretty much the only place I have to worry about it is Oklahoma. You have them in California, don't you?
Yeah, not really around here though. Like I know there's one in Orange County. I've gotten a ticket from that one before, but like around up here, not really. People
Too, since you don't have to, if you're a motorcycle, you don't have to pay the tolls. So what I'll do is I'll just pop up on either a wheelie or on the two side wheels, going to angle, and that way you're technically not a 4-wheel vehicle, at least for the time you're on the tollway. That's a loophole. You can get around it that way.
Oh, well, you do that in the van?
Yeah, it's not too hard. It'll knock some things over sometimes, but it's not that bad. It's cheaper than paying the toll. It's harder to pop a wheelie because of the wheelbase in the van, but if I'm going like over, I don't know, 88, I can probably keep a wheelie going pretty good.
Yeah, I think as long as you had like the speed and momentum going, you'd probably be good for a while.
I don't know, somehow we got to an hour and 24 minutes now. People have been chatting and saying stuff. It's pretty late, so I don't know who all might still be out there awake. There's 6 people watching. I figure at least 3 of them are probably asleep, or whatever they call it when you're intentionally listening to something that puts you in a comatose state. It's like meditation, like an angry meditation, in that sort of a state.
Oh yeah.
So, Cheerios or Raisin Bran?
What is? Are they plain Cheerios or what?
Yeah, it's normal Cheerio. Dollar. Well, I think I already told you I bought a bunch of dollar store. Well, dollar versions of brands of cereal yesterday.
I'm gonna say Raisin Bran.
See, I don't like Raisin Bran. Somebody out there was saying Raisin Bran. I was eating 1/3 Raisin Bran and 2/3 Cheerios, or generic versions of both, and I can deal with that because that gives you enough of the how there's like that sugar on the outside of the raisins.
Hmm.
It gives you enough of that it's decent and it's not gross. But I don't think I could handle full Raisin Bran. It's too much raisin. Do they do a blueberry brand?
I don't think so. I don't know though. I mean, maybe like the off-brand cereals. Sometimes they have like crazier shit.
I might have seen them in like grape nuts. You know what the first cereal was?
Ever?
Yeah,
No.
grape nuts. And then, so basically, it was Kellogg's. It was a crazy vegetarian, vegan dude in Michigan, making everybody healthy. And then, and he made up grape nuts, the cereal, to feed old people that couldn't eat no more because it's like well balanced and they can digest it and eat it because they're all got no teeth. This back in the day. So his brother is also named Kellogg, of course, but his brother's in the kitchen making the various things, including the grape nuts, basically. And then this guy Post was working there, and I guess somebody was a dick. I think Kellogg's, the main guy, was a dick because he was like, "You can't patent this. Nobody's going to use this. Nobody's going to sell this. It's mine. You can only get it if you come here and go to my." Because this was all in some sort of elaborate medical facility you could go to. So yeah, so then Post ditches out of there. It's like F you, and he starts selling it, Post grape nuts, and they're all like, "Dang it!" And his brother, Kellogg's brother, was all, "Let's go start making some money." And then I think, I don't remember the order, but something like the place burns down, the facility burns down, so the doctor at Kellogg's is sitting there with no money and all this potential, but his place burned down. So then his brother, who'd been wanting to make the nuts or the cereal into a brand, was like, "Sell me the cereal, and you can make your hospital again with what you sell, with the money you make." And he does. And he's like, "Fuck you, brother. You're never going to be able to sell that cereal anyway, sucker. Like, I'm going to make my hospital, and I'm going to be the famous one." And then he goes and makes the cereal into Kellogg's, and his hospital brother was pissed. But then I forget when. It's somewhere in that story. They were making grape nuts, and they left the stuff in the stuff set overnight or something, and they were like, "Well, fuck, let's make it anyway." And then you squish the grape nuts a day later, and it turns into cornflakes. And that's when they invented cornflakes. So the guy who originally had stole the idea and was Post grape nuts, he got screwed because one day by accident they invented cornflakes, and of course cornflakes are a billion times better than gross grape nuts. So Cheerio or cornflakes wins. But I think at some point real close after that, corporations bought everything, and now the names are just bullshit, memories or tradition. They're not. But I don't think anybody's involved anymore, or hasn't been involved in a long, long time. But yeah, the cereal's kind of neat. And it's all vegetarian, so everybody's, you're all eating vegan food in the mornings.
I think I saw like a thing on the History Channel about cereal, because this all sounds very familiar to me.
Yeah, there's a couple of things. The best one is the foods that made us, or something like that. There's the toys that made us, and I think there's the cars that made us, and then there's the food that made us, and that's the best synopsis, I think. But there's also that Kellogg story. If you watch vegetarian movies ever, that's usually, that comes up in there. But theirs are never as good. And then I've seen it in like business type of, explanations of the barons or the big companies, because this was all happening, at the same time as a whole bunch of other industry, like the Industrial Revolution was going on. But like I say, I think it's the food that made us has the best rundown. But I've also been watching a lot of YouTube videos, which I don't know if they come from like pieces of bigger produced stuff or if they're just like just well produced little slivers. But I forget exactly. I think it was the show though that had the best kind of synopsis of the whole thing.
Yeah, shit like that's pretty cool.
DTP is picking Cheerios there. I don't know. I've had Cheerios since I was a little kid. It was like, I don't know, whatever. Everybody liked them, so they were always around type of thing. They're about 3/4 boring, but you can do stuff to them depending on what you feel like that day, right? So that's what I kind of like. They're like the cereal version of oatmeal.
You ever had the chocolate Cheerios?
Chocolate what?
Chocolate Cheerios?
I don't know. I've only barely had regular Cheerios, and maybe I've had Honey Nut Cheerios, but I don't really like sugary cereal, so I don't seek them out or anything. I don't think I've had anything besides Honey Nut Cheerios ever, and I think I might have ate them when I was like in the Army or something, like a long time ago. Ate them once, and they didn't appeal to me. Milk is super sweet anyway, like regular cow milk when I eat it.
Mm-hmm.
I grew up drinking like 1% or 0% and stuff, like because we're poor, I guess. So I'm not used to drinking like whole milk, or 2% seems crazy to me. And I don't drink milk hardly ever. But back in the day, drinking milk was super sweet. But putting sugar into milk, I didn't get it. That was like way too sweet for me, especially in the morning. Like I did not want to. I've never been. I'll eat something sweet in the morning because I don't mind eating something sweet, but I'm not going to eat just gobs of sugar all morning. I'm not going to syrup up everything and eat sugar.
Right.
I've never enjoyed that. But anyway, so no, I've only ever had the one kind of Cheerio, I think. I've seen them. I'm always amazed, like, of the stuff that they'll do to Cheerios. But now I've put like bananas and strawberries and blueberries and I'm trying to think of what I'll put whipped cream on. Have you ever had like just a bowl of Cheerios and then put whipped cream on it?
No. I've only had I don't really eat a lot of cereal. So I had like Cheerios as a little kid. They're okay, but they're kind of boring. But the chocolate ones are pretty good. The frosted ones are good too. I think there's apple cinnamon ones that are good. Maybe I do like cereal.
Well, even if you don't buy it, it's one of them things where it's in the hotels all the time. So you have access to it a lot when you travel. And then, you go somewhere or something, it's often like a standby or whatever. So it's around. So even if you're not going out and actively buying cereal and eating it, you can still have access to it and end up defaulting to cereal. I'm not going to say often, but occasionally.
Cereal life.
All right, 6 people out there, hour and a half. It's Friday night. Is there anything else going on live right now? Are we being quirk casted?
I don't know. Are we?
I don't think so. The normal corker, the standard corker, has got something set up for like Monday or something. I don't know. It said like 3 days. So I think he's scared. Maybe people aren't scared enough. They're not mad enough on a Friday night. They need to wait till a Monday or something for people to get mad enough, angry. Monday's an angrier day than it's Friday.
Monday, day to be angry.
We got spoiled with a couple of nice days. We're definitely getting hit with the BS here. And now it's, I was listening to the radio earlier, and they were desperately trying to get us to not go. Like normally when it's hot here on something like this, a long weekend, everyone's going to book to, what's that place called? San Diego.
Oh,
So,
really?
oh yeah, at least a lot of people in Tucson will book to San Diego. Back in when I first moved out here, people would go to Mexico because that's even closer, I think.
Yeah.
But Mexico ain't like it used to be, so people don't go to Mexico so much anymore. But there will be people that aren't as scared, and obviously people that lived in Mexico don't give a shit. Those go back home. So if it's nicer somewhere by the water than here, people will book because it's only like 2 hours from the water, 4 hours from the water from here. So everybody all over the radio, it was here. Don't go west. Don't go west from here. There's nowhere to go east. Don't go north. So it's like, hey, thanks. Like, so basically, like, hey, it's hot here, but don't go anywhere else because everyone else is experiencing the same thing.
Yeah, stay home.
Because normally it would be like, if the radio station's got an advertiser, some hotel or a bread and breakfast or whatever in San Diego, it's going to say go to San Diego.
I don't think California has any travel restrictions either, so
Well, they were just saying that it's hot. It's no point going.
yeah, it's gonna be I guess now they're saying it's gonna be 118 where I live. So that'll be nice.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. I wouldn't stand for that. Did you complain?
Yeah, I wrote Governor Newsom a letter, but I haven't heard anything back.
They said that so July was hottest July in Arizona in 120 years of taking temperatures. August, hottest August in Arizona since they've been taking temperatures. And then today, we broke a record for the hottest day in a September ever. So pretty fucking hot this year.
Yeah, it's really a warm year. It's like it here. It just every time I went outside, it felt like it was more and more humid.
Now I'm not gonna get any uh, fans of this, but at least when it's like this here now, it's super hot out but dry. I can put water in the cooler, and it's super nice in here. It's probably like 70 degrees in here. At least it feels like it. And then it'll get a little muggy, so I can turn off the water for a little while. It'll get a little hot. Turn on the water, it gets nice and cool again, and then it'll get a little bit muggy after a while. And you only have to go through maybe 2 cycles this time of year of that, and then it's cool outside, so you can just open the windows and start letting it, just let the outside cool it down. So as much as it's shitty, we're on the down end of it all, so we get to whatever. I'm guessing it's got to be like that for you if it's like that for us. If it's not hot enough to cook the ground enough to keep it hot all night, which is what I'm guessing it's doing, then it must, you without all that water and stuff, you got to have some refreshment at night, no?
Usually, yeah, it's well for the last week. It's been pretty cool at night, but tonight it was still like 90. Like half an hour ago, it was like 95. So it's like now at night.
AC.
What?
I would stay to work with all that AC.
Yeah, that's what I might do that this weekend. It's gonna be super hot, so I might just use that as an excuse to go get everything up and running.
I went to, when did I go over there? I went over to the Walmart to buy paper, and they had a sewing machine. I guess I didn't talk about that. They had a sewing machine over there. It's the first time I've seen a sewing machine at Walmart since I think April. And it was the one I wanted, so that's frustrating. But at least I can see that they're coming out again. Huh?
Did you get it?
No, I'm all maxed out on everything.
Oh.
But it was still $150. The reason I was looking at it is that heavy duty one from Singer, $150, and you don't have to do nothing special. Typically, any whatever they call the giantest Walmarts now with the food and everything, any kind of that kind of Walmart will have one. Sometimes the smaller Walmarts will have like different ones besides it. Like I don't know how they come up with their concept of stock in these stores, but for a while there was kind of shopping for one. I got my grandma's and it's old and it's dying, but mainly the foot on it. The foot is the part that squishes down the cloth and the needle goes through there.
Mhm.
So that part is, I guess, mine is from, I don't know, the olden days. And back in the olden days, they used this little skinny thing down there. And I bought a whole bunch of parts for that to make it do different things, like hot rod that little part. And everything I got is for some fat version of it. And I'm like, dang it. And because it's supposed to be standard, right?
Right.
I look around and all the new ones are fat down there. So at some point they switched from thin, skinny to fat. And of course mine's skinny. So that's another reason why my grandma's is dying. But mainly it's, I don't know what it is. Like it'll get all gummed up and it won't run. So I have to like take all the skins off of it and oil it, all the different rods and knobs and gizmos in there. And then it'll run like a dream for a little while. And then it'll slowly gum up and then it runs like shit. So I don't know if it's the motor dying or there is some sort of gummy crap, gumming up after all this time or something. But anyway, whatever it is, I'm not gonna. I don't know how long I got to limp along with that thing. So I started to price them out, or started to pay attention as I would be traveling or whatever. If I'm traveling on a big trip and I'm in the middle of the night somewhere, trying to stay awake or just trying to have something to do to stay in the air conditioning, whatever. It was something to do in a Walmart is to find wherever their sewing machines are and see what they had. So anyway, yeah, it was the one that I had been kind of eyeballing for a while. I almost pulled the trigger on it earlier this year because I had a project I was going to need a sewing machine for. But I went on the cheap side and didn't buy it, which I'm glad, I guess. I would rather not have had that extra pile on the credit card, but I don't know. Maybe I would have been able to use it for something. But anyway, yeah, it's been frustrating seeing it not there and not there. But the thing is, they haven't had any. Like, there has been no sewing machines. There might have been somewhere in the middle of all of this. I think there might have been some of the like toys or like what you would give like a little kid who was just starting to play with their first sewing machine for like school or something. Like maybe one step above being a toy. Those were there for like a minute, but even those got bought. And I never go to the Walmart at the time of day when the like old lady who runs the sewing department is there. So I never asked if like sewing machines are coming in and going and I'm just never seeing them or if they're just not showing up. So I noticed that you can't really buy them online either though. You can order them. I don't know if they take your money or not, but they'll say like available September, available December.
Yeah, I've been hearing a lot of the like appliance stuff, like fridges. I know someone that just had to get a fridge and like it's taken like 2 weeks for the fridge to come because there just isn't any fridges.
With all the stuff that's sitting in warehouses and then the ability for places, like a wholesaler to say, oh, we're out of them, but we just sold 10 to this guy. So he's sitting on 10 that he's not moving. So we can get you one, like as soon as that kind of stuff starts to dry up. That's when it becomes more evident when a factory shut down, like I'm sure that kind of stuff is happening where something that isn't so obvious stopped production, but because there's so much in the supply chain, no one's noticing it. That seems like the kind of thing that, like a larger appliance that's not crucial or something.
Yeah.
On the other hand, it could just be hunting season or something, they switched to making hunting, meat freezers or something. This year's the problem is everything that comes up, like, oh, like I lost my glasses, 2020, like you've never lost your glasses before, or like, oh, I got in a car accident, damn 2020. Like, okay, yeah, you've gotten in car accidents before, but people are just chalking everything up to this year being this year, or chucking up, well, yeah, everything. So things are getting scooped up along with the big things. The normal stuff's getting scooped up too.
It's definitely been a year.
All right, well, so anybody else? We got 4 people. One of them is me, and the other one's Angelina, maybe. So that means there's Erstwhile if he's still out there, and maybe someone else. But since we're not saying, oh, now it's 3 people. So now we know it's not even. So it's just one lurker, which is super creepy. And then we're in here doing the thing. It's like if we were sitting inside of a room minding our business, and there's somebody looking in. Except we left the windows open because we thought a bunch of people were going to show up, but actually just one person. So now it's sort of awkward.
That is sort of awkward.
All right, well, they're not saying anything. So they're either, no, a lot of times I think what'll happen is, let's say somebody's sick and they'll not be able to turn the channel or whatever. Or let's say they want to get somebody who's paralyzed or something. And they're like, you know, we got to give them a goal, something that they're going to want to accomplish. They'll flip this shit on and then put like the radio across the room. So now that guy's got to get up, or she's got to get up and get into the wheelchair, whatever, and get across the room to turn this shit off. I think that is a lot of times one of the numbers we'll see over here is somebody like that in a situation where this is being used medicinally to help, to cure. So I feel like we're doing something. Oh, I guess you can't see when I keep doing this. I act like we're screen sharing, but we're not actually screen sharing. So again, I've been doing quite a bit of manipulating here on the screen for no reason since we're not screen sharing. It's been amazing though. Really, really well produced show tonight. So imagine a really well produced show happening. And that's what happened. Lots of effects. I have the new
That's what else happened.
star effect. All right, well, so with that, we'll be back to check you up later.